Guys, let's back up a second. I'm not ready to get off of Charles Oliveira yet. Every time I think that I'm there and I think we got a receipt and this thing is paid in full, something new comes up. I got to go back and reflect upon a tweet that was sent out 48 hours ago by Khabib. Khabib sent it directly to Dana White. He said, you have no choice but to give this to Islam. Okay, great. Anything that Khabib says, you always got to, right? There's a language barrier. And then is he being literal? Is he just speaking up for his guy? But at the same time, if Khabib says it, there's some weight behind it, right? We listen and pay attention. I took that as an expression. 48 hours ago when Khabib said, I took it as an expression. Dana, you got no choice. You got to give it to Islam. I took it as an expression. I don't take it as an expression anymore. I'm starting to see Khabib's point. If you're going to find an opponent for Charles Oliveira, and you're not going to find somebody coming off of a loss, and you're not going to find somebody currently injured, and you're not going to find somebody that's currently booked, you have no choice. You go to Islam. Khabib is correct. Now, I will share with you 48 hours ago, I thought Islam Benny was done. I thought it was done. Also, Dana made a comment at the press conference. And he got on it and he got right off it. And it was simply that he was interested in making Islam versus Benny. But that Joe Rogan had just grabbed him and influenced him, told him not to make the fight. He did not elaborate. I was wildly curious. What was that about? And why specifically did Joe think that fight shouldn't be made? Either way, either put all these things together, right? They're all swirling around. You got a little something in your mind. A couple days go by, you reflect back, go, okay, I get it. If you tie all of these pieces together, Khabib's statement is pretty true that Islam must win. Now, I apologize. Islam must be the guy that goes on, fights Charles next. Now, hold on. Charles came out, said he will not give Islam the opportunity unless Islam gets through Benny. All right. Charles doesn't have an opportunity. Charles doesn't have a belt. But somebody's convinced him that he does, and that we're all going to move forward as though he's the champion. Charles has the right to behave and conduct himself based on the information that he was given. Somebody's given him that information. Somebody's told him, you're still the champ, or at least we're going to move forward as you're the champ. All right. But what is Charles really saying? Charles is really saying, I will only fight Islam if Islam fights Benny. The other thing that Charles is telling us is, I'm not going to fight for a long time. And this happens to every champion sooner or later. They all swear once they get there, they won't change. They all swear they'll be the same guy. It's everybody else around me that's changed. But then they all go change. Charles, who was hungry, Charles, who wanted an opportunity, Charles, who's a prize fighter, Charles that wants to make that walk as many times as he can to get those many paychecks as he can, all of a sudden is willing to not work. That's what he's saying. If he's saying, I acknowledge I should compete with the winner of Islam, but I know that he isolated Islam, but let's supersede that he means the winner of Islam Benny, then he's saying that he is fine in a best case realistic scenario fighting in 2023 next. That's what he's saying. Okay. So let's say you're going to grab Islam. He's available, right? The first step to getting a big opportunity is being told no. Everybody that's ever gotten a big opportunity started with the same way, which is they were told no. So let's say we work this whole thing out. We got Islam and Charles doesn't have to wait for his next opportunity to make a living until 2023. We're going to do this sooner rather than later, which still means in winter of 2022. But let's just say that we do that. Don't forget why we made Islam and Benny in the first place, right? Don't forget the thing in the room that nobody wants to talk about. We're not making that because they both beat 7 guys in a row. We're not making that because it's really hard to tell who should be ranked in front of the other. We're not making that because it's really hard and really close on the lines and appears, at least on paper, to be a really competitive match. We're making them fight each other. People don't know who they are. So if you're the promoter and you got 2 guys that both deserve a title fight and you're not sure that you can draw flies with them because they just haven't caught on yet, these guys will. But that's why they got matched up in the first place. Now the promoter doesn't have 2 problems. Now he only has 1. That was the entire point of this. that everybody's choosing to act like they didn't understand in the first place. So let's say opportunity comes a knocking because of current events. Islam slides into it. What do you do with Benny? They were the same guy. I'm not even sure who's ranked in front of who, and if I had to, I think it's Benny's in front of Islam. They both beat 7 guys in a row. They both haven't lost in a period of time. They both even divided the locker room. I remember Dan Hooker coming out right before that fight was supposed to take place. The first time, he picked Darush. And a lot of people are with Hooker, and a lot of people are picking it right. It's one of those things. So if you slide Benny, now, do you see where this gets interesting? Or does Islam knock off Oliveira and now we do the fight, but now the world championship is on the line? You got these two guys that your initial problem was that you weren't sure could captivate a pay-per-view audience. And I haven't seen, in fairness, in a period of time, anybody get swept away quite as quickly as Justin Gaethje. I saw something different. In the wake of this fight, I've heard how great jiu-jitsu is, of which I love and have a black belt. I've heard how dominant the jiu-jitsu of Charles Oliveira was. I've heard what a fantastic transition. I hear all about the rear naked. I keep hearing those things, but that's not what I saw. Charles Oliveira never took the back of Justin Gaethje without these. This is what created that position. I did not see Charles Oliveira with the longer arms, the more expensive experience, and a dry body, set up and apply a rear naked choke. I saw him punching an opponent in the face repeatedly until he showed the neck. So even though I got to keep hearing about what a great job the grappling and the jiu-jitsu and this whole big debate coming back, it's just not what I saw. And I don't say that to slide anybody. I say that to you from a standpoint that if you told me that Oliveira and Gaethje are going to fight again tomorrow, and then you tried to tell me your analysis based on what you just saw, but you're going to pick Justin Gaethje, I would not tell you you're a fool. That was a very weird match. It really was. In a number of different ways. Many very positive to Charles. I mean, Justin Gaethje kept boom, boom, boom. He hit him hard. Oliveira goes down. He comes right back up. Boom, boom. Justin does it again. He puts him down. Oliveira comes right back up. I mean, plenty of what I'm saying are huge compliments to Oliveira. I'm just also saying it was one of those matches that regardless of how many people want to come out and tell you was a dominant grappling display, fast, decisive, and by Charles Oliveira, I would push back. It's not what I saw. That was an interesting match, and they both learned something. And Justin Gaethje is very hesitant to go to the ground for reasons that I don't know. And jiu-jitsu is a wildly effective art from the top. It's not a wildly effective art like people like to say it is from your back. It was in 1993, and you have people with nostalgia that are trying to cling to that. In all fairness, when Justin put him down, if he would have jumped on top of him like any other All-American wrestler would have done, I feel like we're having a different conversation. I could be wrong, but I feel like we're not. And the only reason I even touch on this topic is as we're looking for opponents of which Oliveira is already shooing away in the media. As we're looking for a title that we want to fill, and one half of the title fight is trying to push until early 2023. If you want to follow precedence that was just set with Figueiredo and Benavidez, it was just done exact same scenario. You bring Justin Gaethje right back in. I'm not predicting for you that's going to happen. I would not bet a single dollar that that's going to happen. I would bet a lot of dollars that it doesn't happen. I'm sharing my surprise at the lack of a conversation of that. I'm sharing the surprise that I'm the only one that feels this entire match was predicated on a big, powerful punch from Oliveira, unlike any shot he has ever thrown ever in a first round of his entire career. Which whenever anybody else does that, we chalk it up to they got lucky. We chalk it up to they caught him. We made Rose go back and do it again. not only once against Joanna Champion, but a second time against Wei Li. I could name a number of people that ended up in the same fate as Justin Gaethje and got put right back in there, but I'm not even hearing a dialogue on Justin. It seems that we've already moved on. We moved on to the point that we're going to break up a fight that we were promised, that we all look forward to, that was already signed once, that I thought was signed a second time. Turns out it doesn't. Joe Rogan made a comment to the organization's president. Now here we are in limbo. We can do that. We can go play that game. We can see what Conor McGregor's doing. We can talk to the boys. We can open up the field, or we can go to Justin Gaethje, which has been done before, but that doesn't seem to be an option. I'm not arguing for you this is what should be done. What I'm sharing for you is that is an option in history that not only was looked at, it was elected. And here we are, 51 hours after the contest, and it's not even on the table. Nobody's discussing it. They're acting like this was open and closed business. This was a big grappling display. Everything you saw was predicated on fisticuffs. It was great. It was a brawl. I saw something different. I saw something different than everybody else saw it. If you told me that those two were going to fight again and then you wanted to have a meaningful back and forth based on what you've already seen about who was going to win and you chose Gaethje, I am not going to tell you that you lost credibility.